Hello to my truth and freedom-seeking friends. I'm Peymon Motahede, the president of Freedom Law School, freedomlawschool.org, and for over 30 years I've not filed and paid any federal income taxes and showing Americans like you to do the same legally and safely. However, in this presentation, I'm not going to talk about income taxes. I'll talk about another important freedom justice issue, that is grand juries in America. Do you want an honest government in America? Well, grand jury is the answer. And this is the second part in three-part series I'm doing on the topic of grand juries, what they are and why they are the key to restoring honesty in government. And I bring it about much more closer us, bring us closer to government of the people, by the people, and for we the people. Okay? I'm going to focus on judges a lot, but really the reason I do that is because everybody knows bad cops are out there. Bad government employees are out there. But I'm going to focus on judges and prosecutors. But because those guys are the holy priests of the system. Oh, almighty judge. He's like God, you know. Nobody can touch a judge. Nobody can judge a judge. Except the grand jury and the trial jury. Prosecutors, same thing. They have a lot of power to charge people with crimes, but who's going to charge the corrupt prosecutor with their crimes and convict them? The grand jury can accuse the prosecutor of his corruption, and the trial jury can convict him. So that's why I'm going to focus on those, but I'm going to start a little bit with the President of the United States example first. First of all, jury power is really one of the things I've been teaching about. Jurypower.org is a website you want to go to, okay? And here's what I educate Americans about the power of juries, especially grand jurors, which is a very little known topic. So everything is on this website. I'm going to expand this website. Here is several articles here under grand jury power. This website will get improved with much more on it by the time you see it, perhaps. So let's get started. Let's talk about something that has become now obvious a lot. Here we are in October 2025, and most Americans know that President Trump was indicted by a grand jury in New York, a federal grand jury, as well as a grand jury in the state of Georgia. These are all grand juries, technically, who indicted Donald Trump. Not the district attorney, which is a local prosecutor in every county in America has a district attorney. That's what they call usually district attorney. And in the federal government, the prosecutor is called, he's with the Department of Justice. He's a U.S. attorney. But same thing, they're prosecutors within the state system or the federal system. So just to remind you of that, take a look at this right here. This is an indictment in Fulton County, Georgia, filed August 14, 2023, against former President Donald John Trump, okay? And here it is, Fulton Superior Court, as you see it, okay? Now we go down to, you see, go to all the charges are here on the right side, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, and you go down to the bottom, number 37 through 40, and here it is, 41, signed by, oh, look at that, grand jury foreperson. The grand jurors pick one person amongst them to be like their organizer, basically called the foreperson. He doesn't own the grand jury, he's just one amongst them, among the equals, to keep things under control and run the administration organization of the grand jury. That's all that is. Nothing special about him beyond that. So here it is, you see down here, yep, Fannie Willis, the infamous district attorney. You know, she's down here also. So look at this other one. This is now in Florida federal court, okay? Southern District of Florida. You see that this was charged against United States of America versus Donald J. Trump. Okay? And in this one, defendants, indictment, the grand jury charges, right? The grand jury makes the allegations that the defendant, Donald J. Trump, So here you see, again, go down on this thing. They're talking about Mar-a-Lago Club at the end. A true bill, foreperson of the grand jury signs it on behalf of the entire grand jury. That's how it's done. And Jack Smith, that's corrupt special counsel, United States Department of Injustice special counsel, has signed it. Okay? Now, this article, did you know that judges are not above the law, is the key article I'm going to be reading from. Okay? And this is going to be just such an eye-opening for most of you. Hang in there. I'm going to read it with you to make sure it's more very clear for all of you, okay? So there's a cover page on this thing that I'm not going to spend much time on this thing. I'm just going to read the article. It's just an overview of the whole immense power of the grand jurors, especially in California. California has the best grand jury system that I know of in America. About half the states have some kind of the grand jury system going on. And like California is county by county. Florida, several counties together have a grand jury. So in some states, you don't have grand juries at all. They abolished them. Federal government does have grand juries. For any serious crimes, felonies, the federal government must get a grand jury indictment. Misdemeanors, which are offenses that have less than 1 year prison sentence, can be done without a grand jury indictment. The U.S. attorney, prosecutor can bring the charges. But anything serious, felonies, over 1 year prison sentence, has to be done in the federal system by the grand jury. Now, we covered all this last week, this overview. And remember, I showed you guys in part one that if you haven't seen it, you should see that now. Go watch part one first, and then come watch this. Because that's an introduction to the amazing power that the grand jurors have to indict anybody. Okay? I'm going to show you how they've done it against not just Trump, but also judges. Okay? In federal and California system. Okay? So here we are. We're going to go a little further on this thing. So I'm going to show you some court cases. Okay? And I'm going to quote them. All these court cases, you see, I'm going to read to you. They're all actually in this document. They're actually attached. I wrote this thing about 1997 because I was fighting some corrupt judges in Orange County, California, in the city of Santa Ana. Okay, so that's how old these are. Back then, there was no internet to link things to, so I actually photocopied the law, underlined the relevant language, and attached them at the end of this article. The hyperlink to these court cases will be put on later on within the article soon, so you can click on it if you want directly. But the nice thing is it's all there for you photocopied. So there's 2 pages we're going to read together, okay? Here's some cases I'm going to read from you guys. United States versus Hastings, okay? This was the 11th Circuit Federal Court of Appeal, okay, in 1982, okay? And Hastings was a federal judge who was indicted by the federal grand jury with conspiracy to obstruct acts for acts involving his acting as a judge. He was acting as a judge and found guilty of those charges by the trial jury. Now, some of you may know that judges have absolute immunity for any act they do as a judge, only civilly, which means you cannot, or anybody cannot sue them for money damages. But criminally, the judges can be charged from the crimes they commit even as a judge. And that's the importance of this case, okay? So here's on page 711, the court says, no man in this country is so high that he is above the law. Of course, you heard throughout Donald Trump, after him, the communist Democrats have said this many, many, many times. Well, here it is actually in the law, okay? Every man who, by accepting government office, participates in its government functions is only the more strongly bound to submit to its supremacy. A judge no less than any other man is subject to the process of criminal law. End of quote. So the judges that are not immune. Now here's some cases I'm going to give you from California because I lived in California at the time. But the grand juries everywhere in America, if one exists, they have the same powers, generally speaking, because it's the same institution that I covered last week to you, goes back 1,000 years to England. So what it is, its nature is basically the same, unless sometimes by law or constitution, they may have changed that or modified it depending on state laws. Okay? So here it is in this case called People versus Martin, okay, in 1982. And Judge Martin was indicted by a Los Angeles grand jury for conspiracy to obstruct and pervert justice while acting as a judge. And he was found guilty, sent to state prison, okay? And the Court of Appeal, in approving the conviction of Judge Martin, said that what Judge Martin is really saying is he should be treated more favorably because he was a judge. It was apparently the trial court's opinion that judges and attorneys should be punished like everyone else when they commit felonies. Yep. He was a judge that fixed tickets for his buddy, attorney, and got real tickets of his clients. The judge got paid off. He did that as a judge, but no less, he paid the price and went through prison for that. Okay? Here's another one called the People versus Hardiman. Okay? 1966, okay? And Judge Hardiman was indicted by Los Angeles grand jury, for conspiracy to obstruct and pervert justice. See, back in the old days, California was a land of the free. It was not a communist entity we have today. They actually had a rule of we the people in California was a great model for America to follow. That's all changed. They start changing it, in the 80s in a big way, okay? So, now Judge Hardiman did not even bother to claim that he's above the law or make any frivolous claim that grand jury as an arm of the court has no jurisdiction over judges, okay? Judge Hardiman knew better than that, okay? He brought up a lot of issues, but did not challenge the right or power of the grand jury to indict him. See what happens. I approached the grand jury in Orange County to find these corrupt judges in Orange County, California. I was going after Judge Stanford and Commissioner Laird, L-A-A-I-R-D. They're probably both dead now. I think Stanton's alive. And this crooks, okay? And when I wrote the grand jury, they said, oh, we have no jurisdiction over judges. Which is a bunch of nonsense. That is a lie. The advisor of the grand jury, which in California is the local prosecutor or district attorney, tells them is not true at all. As you read, the judges can be indicted even if they act as a judge if what they do is a crime. Okay? So that's what's important for you to understand and see, and that the grand jury does have jurisdiction or power over the judges and the prosecutors who are the advisors of the grand jury. Okay? Here's another case. Frazier versus Moffat. Okay? This is a 1951 California case. Okay? In this case, a citizen sued Judge Moffat in a civil action. The suit was dismissed because judges had given themselves immunity from lawsuits when they acted as a judge. Right? Now, however, in consoling a citizen and people that Judge Moffat is not above the law from his allegedly illegal acts, and if something could be done about Judge Moffat's illegal acts, the court on page 385 said this. The cases clearly hold that when a judicial officer violates a criminal statute, he is held to the same responsibility as any citizen. Under our system of government, judicial officers are responsible to the people or authorities constituted by the people for the manner in which they discharge the great trust of their office. That's right. Where they act, how they act as a judge. If in exercise of powers with which they are clothed as ministers of justice, they act with partiality or corruptly, arbitrarily, or oppressively, they may be called to account for misdemeanor in office or for willful or corrupt conduct in office. See, they told the guy, look, you cannot sue them, but the prosecutor can come after them for misdemeanors and the grand jury can indict the judge. So try that, basically, they told him. You can do that route, okay? So, Frazier and Muffat also clearly conclude that a judge may be charged with a crime by the grand jury, as well as accused for corrupt misconduct in office under California Government Code Section 3060. And we're going to come back to this thing, okay, about Government Code Section 3060 in California. Okay. Here's another case, Baird versus Justices Court, okay? It's a 1909 old California Court of Appeal decision, okay? And Judge Ward was indicted and convicted for misconduct in office, in his office of Justice of Peace. And the judgment was rendered removing him from the office for causes slated in the judgment. And the court said, a Justice of Peace judge, if he subjected to himself to the penalty by any reason of misconduct or punishment thereof, is provided by Section 785 of the Penal Code, okay, which has been changed now to a different code section, which provided for removal from office, a public office of every description for willful or corrupt misconduct in office, and now being recodified in Government Code Section 3060. Yeah, that's a pretty amazing law in California, that they can come after any government official, charge him for corruption, willful misconduct in office, and the trial jury later on can convict and remove that corrupt government official, even a judge. People versus Ward, 1890. See, back then, people knew that they could go to a grand jury and report the corrupt government officials, like judges. And the grand jury would indict them because the government was close to us. Okay? As we got bigger cities and more ignorant of our rights, ignorant of our system of laws, we stopped doing these things. Okay? That's why these cases are over 100 years old. Okay? Some of them. So, the indictment in this case was drawn under Section 750 of the Penal Code. Okay? So, basically, what they say that an accusation or indictment for corrupt misconduct in office can only be made by the grand jury. Neither the district attorney nor another prosecutor has the power to make an accusation or indictment. Only the grand jury has the accusation power, okay? Okay. And the court further said that to remove a judicial officer for misconduct in office, the act charged must have been done in discharge of judicial functions. That's right, as a judge. Not the guy walking off the street, your neighbor. As a judge, he must have done the act, and he actually can be removed. And he must be charged to have been done with corrupt, partial, malicious, or other improper motives, and with knowledge that it was wrong. Yep. Unfortunately, California, I think Nevada are the only two states that have the law this good in their system. Okay? All right? Now, as you see right here, this is cases that I'm talking about. There are here. You can read them all for yourself. Okay? These are the cases that I read to you. So this first one, for example, you see is Judge Hastings' case. Okay? Now, another thing you should know about federal laws, for example. There's a law, 18 U.S.C. sections 1503, influencing or injuring officers or jurors generally. Okay, now, this is what a lot of attorneys misunderstand the law. Okay? And they tell you don't talk to grand jurors. But you can. That's not true. You can talk to grand jurors. You have a right, you have a duty under the First Amendment of the Constitution to have your redress of grievances brought to the grand juror's attention peacefully. Okay? But if you don't do it peacefully, then it could be punishment. Okay? Whoever corruptly or by threats of force or by any threatening letter or communication endeavors to influence, intimidate, or impede any grand jury or particular juror or officer in any above the courts of the United States, those guys could be doing jury tampering. But again, the key was what? Corruptly, by threats of force, or by threatening letter or communication. Okay, that's the key thing. Peaceful communication around grand jurors is your right. It is not a crime whatsoever. Okay? Here is California law section 919C, by the way. This is the 919 gave us the powers of the grand jurors in California. Okay? The grand jury may inquire into the case of every person imprisoned in a jail of the county on the criminal charge and not indicted. Why? Because some poor guy can sit in jail, not convicted, for months and years. Everybody forgets about him. The jailers forget about him. The grand jurors are supposed to go visit the jail just to make sure no one is being held in there wrongfully. Make sure these people who are powerless are not mistreated or abused. Okay, that's why it's been in law for a long, long time in California. Okay, that's where the B part comes in. The grand jury shall inquire into the condition and management of public prisons within the county. Right now, here's the last key part. The grand jury shall or must inquire into the willful or corrupt misconduct in office of public officers of every description within the county. This is a shall, not a may. The other one, and regular crimes, are a may inquire. Okay? But when it comes to government corruption, they shall inquire. What does that mean? That means that the bomb goes off, kills 100 people in the building, the grand jury is not required to investigate what happened there. They can if they want to, but they don't have to. But someone reports a government corruption, official, a policeman, sheriff, prosecutor, legislator, or judge is corrupt, the grand jury must investigate that. If it's just one guy. We can't have corrupt people in the office, in our government, because that corruption will spread. Okay? So that's why the grand jury has to clean it up right away by looking into that. Okay? Here's a California law, Penal Code Section 182, and many states have similar laws. If two or more persons conspire to commit any act injurious to the public health, to public morals, or to pervert or obstruct justice, or the due administration of the laws, right? They are punishable. Boy, does that happen a lot in our court system. The judges and prosecutors and lying cops, they do this all the time. Okay, more often than you think. The laws are there, but we're not using them. We got to bring to attention of the grand jurors what's going on in our system of justice, which is not as just as it is supposed to be. Okay. Here's the case of a San Diego County grand jury in California. Okay, that came out in 1998-99 term. And what they did in San Diego, they actually charged Mayor of San Diego, City of San Diego, with willful misconduct in office. And you see the accusation right here. Okay, they wrote this letter to the District Attorney Paul Pfingst. Okay, accusation of misconduct in office against Susan Golding, Mayor of the City of San Diego. Okay. So look, Penal Code 919C, they looked into it, and they charged her and the other penal crimes that they believed that she violated in here, okay? So here it is. There's a cover letter in here about it, okay? And count 2, and they're signing it, the foreman. This is an accusation. Peter J. Gerenza signed this on behalf of the San Diego County Grand Jury, 1998-1999. By the way, I met Peter Lorenzo at the time, and I was going to, what happened, by the way, the district attorney and the mayor's lawyer got with the judge, and they both said, "Oh, the grand jury's wrong, Judge. You know, they didn't do things right here. They should have. They did not listen to the prosecutor, the district attorney's advice. They didn't follow rules of evidence the way they should. Bunch of nonsense. The grand jurors are not bound by regular rules of evidence at all. Okay, it's not a conviction. It's only an accusation. The grand jurors do not have to listen or seek the advice of the district attorney. They instead go to the attorney general of the state or any other private person they want to get advice from. They're a completely independent body, as you saw in part one of these series. I educated you about the grand jurors are completely independent of the prosecutor. So what happened in this case, though, because the lawyer of the Mayor Golding and the district attorney both agreed basically that, hey, this case should go away, the crooked judge also agreed and dismissed the grand jury's accusation. Unfortunately, at that time, I was not learned and law enough to untimely to challenge that in the Court of Appeal. The other problem was the grand jury term was up. They're only there usually for a year. When they're not there, they no longer have what's called standing to sue. In other words, they're out of the job. They're not there anymore. They're no longer grand jurors. They're regular people. Grand jury is a temporary position. Most states it's for 1 year, sometimes a year and a half, sometimes 2, depending on state law. Federal law is usually 18 months. So they even have no standing to challenge the dismissal of the accusation anyhow. But it showed that grand jurors can do that. And the mayor was so embarrassed, Susan Golding resigned from her position as mayor of San Diego because that tainted her image enough. So that enough did the job. She left on her own anyways. Okay, so those things do work even if they don't work the regular way that you expect it to. Here's another federal law, 18 U.S.C. 2 principles, okay? Whoever commits an offense against the United States, in other words, anybody who breaks any federal law, or aids or abets, counsels, commands, or induces, or procures its commission is punishable as a principle, okay? So you better not help anybody else to break a federal law, okay? So that is also something that a lot of the people in government do. Guess who does that a lot? The prosecutors themselves. They're part of injustice lawyers of the federal government all the time. They're going to witnesses and say, you lie because we want to get Donald Trump or somebody else. And the guy says, I can't lie because I must tell the truth. I don't want to go to prison. And the part of injustice lawyers say, don't worry, man. I am the prosecutor. I'm the one that decides to prosecute somebody or not. I'm telling you, you lied like I want you to, you're protected. Yeah, you are talking God here right now. I got God-like powers. I'm telling you, I'm making a deal with you. You lie about this guy you want to get, like Donald Trump, you're protected because I'm going to get that guy. You're not that important. On occasions, like in case of Congressman Trafficant of Ohio, a Democrat, good guy, I knew him personally. One of the witnesses that they tried to intimidate to lie about Trafficant, they pressured him so much, he said, no, I will not lie. They brought false charges against him as a punishment. The jury acquitted him. There was nothing there. But that's how corrupt the government prosecutors and lawyers can be in the case of that. So you saw it in Donald Trump case. They got all the January 6ers. Tell them, hey, we'll let you go if you lie about Trump, if you say he was behind the January 6th insurrection. Right? I know him, someone personally. I talked to Stuart Rhodes. They told him that. Okay? The Proud Boys, defendant January 6th, they told him that. You lie about Donald Trump, the DOJ will let you go. You won't even be prosecuted. And Stuart Rhodes, the Proud Boys guy, said, no, we're not going to lie. These prosecutors need to be indicted. They did go to prison. They're not above the law, and the grand jury does have the power to do that, but they just don't know. So that's why you got to be educated. You might end up being a grand jury one day. You never know. You get called upon. Every state law on grand jury selection is a little different. Usually it's by random. Okay? Federal law is by random, federal grand juries. So you should know this in case you are called as a grand jury or your friend gets called as a grand jury. Educate your friend about the power he or she has to clean up the government. The guy there needs to be cleaned up. It's overdue. Right? Look at this California law. Government Code Section 3060. This is a law that says a government official can be fired upon conviction by a trial jury once the grand jury accuses them of corruption. An accusation in writing against any officer of a district, county, or city, including any member of a government board or personnel commission of a school district, or any human officer for willful or corrupt misconduct in office. Just about everybody. Almost. May be presented by the grand jury of the county for or in which the officer accused is elected or appointed. Okay? There it is. There it is, folks. Plain English. Now, California is so good at this, they have a special provision when the grand jury accuses the district attorney, the prosecutor, of corruption, too. Look at this. Okay? Here's Government Code Section 3073 in California. The same proceedings may be had on like grounds for removal of a district attorney, except that the accusation shall be delivered by the foreman of the grand jury to the clerk and by him to the judge of the Superior Court of the county. And here's the interesting part. The judge shall appoint a person to act as prosecuting officer in the matter. Somebody. The judge can fix any person he wants, a lawyer, somebody to prosecute the prosecutor who is corrupt, or place the accusation in the hands of the district attorney of an adjoining county and require him to conduct the proceedings. Wow. Talking about foresight the California founders had about the government needs to be cleaned up. We want to make sure that no one is above the law. The corrupt people must be looked at by the grand jury and charged and removed upon conviction by a trial jury. Okay, so it's very clear, as you see, that no one is above the grand power of the grand juries. Okay, now the way you want to go for more, further information is jurypower.org. Okay. Again, this website is still being built up. More will be on here. These videos will be put on this page also for you guys to become familiar with it. And if you go on the Grand Jury Power, you go down and beyond these articles you see on the first few lines. There's this book called The People's Panel by Richard D. Younger. That's right. This is a great book, the only book I know of about Grand Jury Power. Okay, it's divided in 3 different sections, chapters. And here it is, the People's Panel. Okay, grand jury in the United States. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys so you can see a little bit better. Okay, 1634 to 1491. Okay, here it is. This was published in 1963. It's a great book. You can read it online for free. You can print it out if you want to. Okay, this is published by Brown University. So it's a great legal essay book on the topic. Look at just table of contents. You want to know about grand jurors, folks? It's in here. Okay? How they took over counties back over 100 years ago. They would do it late 1800s. That were corrupt and clean up the whole county government or city governments. And straighten things out. Grand juries have that power. They just don't know they have the power. It's up to you as a citizen to educate them. Okay? So next part now, we're going to get to the good stuff. How do you get to those grand jurors? To report the corruption in office of the people of the government officials out there. The prosecutors, judges, police, sheriff, anybody out there, it's very important that you learn the next part, the third part, with the most powerful part of this presentation. So don't miss it. And remember, if you want to also stop filing and pay income taxes legally and safely, go to Freedom Law School's website, freedomlawschool.org. Okay, you can always call us at 813-444-4800. We're here for you to answer your questions and help you be free, and together, work together as Americans to restore freedom in America peacefully through the tools the Founding Fathers gave us, the founding documents of America, the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Combined, they're the foundation of every federal, state law you have, basically. With that spirit and that intent, it's there. So learn it, study it, regain your freedom, start living free as a free American you were born to be. I come from Iran. We have no freedom there. We have no grand jury there. We have no trial jury there. We don't have due process like you have here. We don't have free speech over there like you got, like I got now, and as an American. We have to exercise those rights and those powers that God gave us, and the system's supposed to protect us. And it is still that way. That's why I can do this. For over 30 years, I've not filed and paid $1 income tax to the federal government, and openly teaching Americans like you to do the same legally and safely. The IRS has never tried to come after me. Actually, they tried, but they could indict me. They won't even indict me, take me before a jury to convict, because they know there's no law that requires you, me, or the people of the 50 states to file and pay federal income taxes. And because I know the law well enough that I'm going to win the jury trial, they are unable to go forward. Okay? And you'll be in the same position as me, free, with confidence, if you just educate yourself a little bit at freedomlawschool.org. Do it on your own if you want to, or get together with us and other people like yourself in our Restore Freedom Plan to be more powerful and secure together. The choice is yours. Thank you for your time. I look forward to being back with you again next week. Okay, now I'm going to get to your questions, brothers and sisters. How long was that, by the way? The clock, we didn't have the clock on tonight. 37 minutes? Okay, all right. So we're going to get your questions, my friends, and answer them for you about any freedom question. I know many people love this part actually better than my topic, because they get to talk to me one by one, and I'm happy to do so. We got to get this thing working so I can see the people callers. So I'll be taking your questions one person at a time. By the way, let me remind you all, if you have not been to our website recently, you need to go there to freedomlawschool.org. There's been a lot of improvements made to our website over the last few years that are fabulous, okay? I'm going to show it to you. Here we go. Take 7 steps to regain your power and freedom. Never again voluntarily pay the Washington, D.C. swamp legally and safely guaranteed. Here's the 7 steps, the gold bar. Click on that, and it takes you to the place to free yourself from income tax slavery with these 7 steps, okay? Follow the law is number 1. Number 1, always we say, follow the law as written on U.S. government's official legal websites. And these Restore Freedom brochures about following the law, we will mail them to you for free. 12-page, beautiful color glossy brochure. Okay, it's yours. As many to pass out, and share with them that no law requires 99% of Americans to file and pay income and payroll taxes. 50,000 rewards. Anybody that can show any legal thing I'm saying here is wrong. Okay? Now that's one version. You can download it if you want. Send a link to a friend, a family member to read. You can do that. There's a second version of it. Fast track your success lawfully and safely. Pay no income or payroll taxes with a 100% guarantee. So the content is the same, just different cover You can ask for one or both copies if you want, and get the word out, folks. Can take our country back. It belongs to you and me and the American people. We the people. Not the big banks and corporations and powerful moneyed interests who buy off our politicians. At the end, they belong to you, the American people. So get it out there. Get the word out. That's what we got to do. Don't just sit on this information. Educate yourself and share this information with other people you know. Physically get a copy, hand them out to people, or the links are available on our website. You can download it and share it, or share it with other people. Okay? All right. So now we're going to get to the people with questions. We do have one caller right now, waving from area code 307. 307 area code caller. Please give me your first name, how you heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please. Are you there from area code 307? I don't hear the caller.
I'm actually
here we go. Okay, you're back.
a truck
Okay.
driver, but I live up in Wyoming.
Okay, you live in Wyoming. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. What's your name again?
I'm sorry, I got a auxiliary power unit going on my truck. My name is JD.
JD, okay. All right. And how did you hear about Freedom Law School?
Actually, we follow Dr. Carrie Madej and Dr. Tenpenny, and Dr. Carrie Madej found out about your organization somehow. We're all in the truth movement. We know what the good shot and all the crap is, and I've kind of been out of the IRS system over 20 years as a disabled vet. I got on a pension and never messed with it again. Then of a tax return because I wasn't working. But I recently went back to work and I found some loopholes. And my question is, if I'm already working as a 1099 and I have a private EIN number under a foreign grantor trust, I learned a lot through Dr. Carrie Madej going through the national status and getting out of the U.S. citizen status. Are you there? Or?
I mean, I'm listening. Go ahead, keep talking, huh? Yes.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Yeah. So when I'm ex-Army, with Special Forces Detachment, I learned a lot about stuff that's going on with the fake medical crap. And Dr. Carrie Madej and Tenpenny really blew that open. There was a Special Forces Brigade surgeon named Dr. Rashid Buttar. Very nice guy, Christian guy, family guy. Exposed a lot of crap about what's in the COVID shots. And we all know, we were taught not to play with experimental drugs a long time ago, remember?
Yes, of
President
course.
Reagan said, say no to...
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, bottom line is we know, I started digging into the truth movement, finding out a lot. Of course, the 16th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, these are all non-ratified stuff. We know this, but they're still, using Nazi force to enforce this on everybody. We can look it up right under the 14th Amendment. Anyone that's read it and understands it and sees through the semantic deceit, we know that they have no authority for it. There's no such thing as a labor
Jamie,
tax.
what's your question?
It's still going on.
What's your question, brother?
My question is, if you don't file a tax return and you don't I signed a W-9 under a UCC 1308. I didn't sign it. I autographed it. My question is, if they send something in the mail after I'm on a 1099, I had old child support that they were taking out. I also received Social Security and VA. So I noticed one of your seminars said, oh, you have to give up Social Security, this and that. I receive a pension, retirement pension and disability for stuff overseas. I don't talk to the IRS or any of that stuff. I'm doing 1099 truck driving.
Okay.
So I did a W-9. Will they try to send me something? Hey, we found out you're on a W-9. From my understanding, the W-9 stays with the employer. It does not, your contractor, not employer, I'm sorry. They only show that W-9 unless they get audited. Or do they turn that over to the IRS?
The W-9 does not get turned on. Given to the IRS. Okay? But your question...
That's my question. So...
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, that was basically what I was getting at. I noticed in one of your seminars you said, hey, If you sign the W-4 or the W-2 or the W-9 and you sign it, you're putting the noose around your neck. You're giving them authority. But I learned some tricks about signing. There's a certain way you can do something to sign as an American Republic, and I have figured out. I corrected my status with the State Department, and so that's my question: is they won't, even if they send something, and I ignore that. Like I noticed you said, if they send it, ignore it. If you haven't signed anything, you don't have to worry about it. I haven't talked to the IRS in over 20 years.
Okay. All right.
But I started working back as a W-4. Now I'm on 1099, so I don't have to worry about a W-9 coming back to mess with me.
Okay. First of all, there's nothing about your status that needed correction to begin with. You were just fine like me, a state citizen and a U.S. citizen and a U.S. national all at the same time. Number two, you never needed to revoke any election that perhaps you were told you made to revoke that. You never elected to be a slave to revoke it. Number three,
Right.
Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, has nothing whatsoever with income tax at all. Number four, your birth certificate, and straw man, supposedly, has nothing to do whatsoever with your paid income tax. Number five, your name in the capital letters has nothing to do with your paying income tax. Number six, yellow French flag and quarter paperwork has nothing to do with your pay income tax. Number seven, not using zip code on your mail has nothing to do with your paying income tax or not. All this stuff you're hearing in common law, admiralty or French flag, are garbage, baseless legal theories. So divorces about all that, congratulations. You got to source. The one guy in the Freedom Movement that never gone to prison over this stuff is me, because I've done it right. I'm not trying to be egotistical. I've done some of this stuff back in the early 1990s when I was like you, newbie, and that's all that's out there.
Have you ever...
Okay?
Right. Have you ever got an EIN number for a sole proprietor? I have an EIN number, and I got my estate put in for my name and my Social Security number and got an EIN number for it.
Okay.
And I got a 98 foreign grantor trust. The 98 number is U.S. tax-free. So I got a foreign grantor trust, and I put my estate and my sole proprietor in that using Form 8832. I have never got anything from the IRS. I walked it into the IRS, had them stamp it, time-stamped it. They sent it off to Ogden. I've never heard back from them. So that was something that I feel like I learned this from a guy named Jonah Bay. He's been doing things for quite a while, a long time. He's not in prison or jail or anything, and he's teaching how to do these IRS forms. And that's what I did. I did my estate with my Social Security IRS online, and I got that estate closed out, and it is actually an estate. So straw man, whatever, all that crap. But the estate is a real thing. It is a Social Security public trust account, and you can close it down using the IRS online estate.
What's your question, JD? What's your question?
Yeah. The question is, if you have that, is that the same as what your program is?
No.
Are you doing something different?
No. Something completely different, okay? You never needed a foreign grantor trust to begin with. You don't need to do any of those things. You're fine and beautiful and healthy as you are. You never needed a jab, corona or flu jab. Same thing here. All the stuff you were sold by the Johanna Bay guy, whatever. I'm not attacking his integrity, but you don't need them. Foreign grantor trust. What the heck got to do with anything? It doesn't. What I teach you is this. The law as published in the Internal Revenue Code, federal tax law, okay, has been written deceptively to deceive you to be a slave. Here they use the term United States. U.S. citizens got to file an income tax, and that is true. All U.S. citizens must file an income tax as defined in the Internal Revenue Code. United States is defined in the federal tax laws as District of Columbia for income tax purposes. For FICA, Social Security, self-employment taxes, it means 4 island U.S. territories of Guam, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and American Samoa, not the people of the 50 states. That's what I teach. It's straight from the 1040 income tax form. It's instructions, laws as published by U.S. House of Representatives, U.S. Treasury regulations as published by government, and U.S. Supreme Court cases. Not always patriot mythologies you mentioned, all of them are as nonsense as you go in the back of their house, clap your hand 10 times, spit on the side, wink, 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 and wish that it's going to rain. Okay? It's got nothing with reality.
Well,
okay, all this stuff, you didn't need any of
so
this
if you
stuff.
get a job with a Social Security number and you owe child support, they came after me. Now that I don't use the Social Security number, I use the EIN. Child support doesn't bother me, and IRS doesn't come right into my company and go, hey, we're going to take this money. It's for false, fraudulent child support. Anyhow, I've contested it a long time ago. I paid money out, but the Social Security number definitely does link you, and they can track you in the system using that number. I've learned this the hard way. So the method that I was talking about with EIN, getting a sole proprietor, using your actual birth certificate name, whether it's capital or lower uppercase, it doesn't matter. You get a separated number from that, and you work under that, and they can't automatically pull anything, because I believe what you're saying is true about don't bother with it. You don't need any of that stuff. But the truth is, when you get a, like you said, 1040, don't mess with that crap. Don't mess with the 1040. Don't mess with the W-2, W-4. These days, trying to get a job without that, it's a struggle. I've been lucky to do it in trucking, but trying to do it in other areas is very, very hard. So I recommend it to some friends of mine. If you're going to do it, use a EIN number with your actual
Well, let me tell you, let me
birth
caution you on that.
certificate.
Let me caution you on that, my friend, okay? You got yourself, obviously, from what you're telling me, admittedly on this broadcast, to technically defraud and not to pay the child support. Hold on. The child support,
legal.
I know, but listen, SS number is a slave surveillance number. They track you with that, no question, okay? But as far as the IRS goes, you don't need to worry about that. They don't use the 1099s or W-2s against you anyways. They are leaving non-filers alone. There's no need for the IRS issue for you to get that EIN number. You did for other reasons, that's your business, okay? Yeah. But it was never needed for any IRS-related issue, okay?
Oh, I got you. Understood. Yeah, everything that I've spoken about is 100% on the legal end. Nothing is unlawful or illegal.
Very good.
It's just a way to go to work without using their number. That's a public number. So, awesome, brother. Yeah. A lot of good things I've learned. I'm watching. I'm going to follow through, and I'll let you go with the podcast. This is my first time coming in here, and much love and respect, and God bless America. We're taking it back, brother.
Thank you, JD. Remember this. Go to our website, freedomlawschool.org, and listen as a truck driver. You're stuck in that truck, bored to death. Listen to our videos.
All the time.
You know, start with step one videos on the law. On step one videos, really make sure you understand it. And when you have lunch, watch the video and see the law for yourself. Then you divorce yourself of all this patriot mythology and know the right thing. And be sure to send petitions to your 3 congressmen. They're free on our website at freedomlawschool.org for you to confront them about the law and tell them that they need to enforce the law as written right now. Okay?
Grand jury's coming. Yes, sir. I'm going to be paying attention, watching very closely with the grand jury stuff, and I will get on the website and do some more homework. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome, my friend. Thank you.
I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks for calling,
awesome talking to you, Peymon.
Likewise,
thank you, sir. God bless, brother.
God bless you, brother. Okay, we have a caller now from area code 615. Caller from area code 615. Give me your first name, how you heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Yes, I was calling about information about private member associations, and I was trying to find more information. Well, my name is Sherry.
And how did you hear about Freedom Law School, Sherry?
How did I hear about what?
About Freedom Law School.
Well, my gosh, you've been out on TV since the late 90s, haven't you?
Since actually early 1990s.
And Vanderbilt, just a minute, Mike Adams, the list goes on. Brighteon, this and that. And sometime in the late 90s, I saw you on some show, and you were talking the good sense about not following the stupidity, falling into the trap of being a slave to whatever government, state, local, county, federal, and so on. So I've been aware of you for a long time, and I've been reading up and following some of the things that you've said. So is that all right?
That's quite fine. Fine. Why did it take you so long to call us?
I'm sorry?
Why did it take you so long to contact Freedom Law School?
I wanted to know more about private members association.
Okay, all right. What about them?
I found more about that with Ann Vandersteel has said that she has a great interest in that, and so do other people that I've been following. And I wanted to know, do you have to register that with the state?
No.
You do not.
Yes.
So you can just create that, but how do you? I understand that Costco may be PMA. Not that that's great for me, but I was doing more of a family situation where we could provide coverage for our properties, cars, businesses, and have everything under that PMA as just a family, not as being a part of other PMAs. I've seen where there are other associations that you can join, but I don't want to be under someone else's association. So that's what I was calling to find out about.
Okay.
If you can give me more information about that.
Sure.
Because I couldn't find that on videos on YouTube from you, although I did find, that you were stating that if you needed a PMA, that your company, that Freedom Law School, can make that up.
No, we don't.
To suit our needs.
I never said that.
Oh, you don't?
No, of course not. No.
Oh, it's on Facebook.
Send it to me someplace.
No,
I'll check it out.
YouTube.
That is. I've never done PMAs. I don't do anything with PMAs at all. Okay. Private membership association is not something that Freedom Law School promotes. As the name suggests, it's an association. It's an association of a bunch of private people, okay, with private members. An example would be a soccer club. A bunch of mothers get together. They have, let's say, 20 children, and they want to have the kids play soccer. They create their own association. They get together. Hey, we got our little boys and girls. We want them to play soccer. They go buy some soccer ball, some goals, some jerseys and shoes, all that stuff, and they might do fundraisers, sell donuts, things like that to raise money for renting a place.
Understand.
So it is something that's owned by all the members of the private association. People that associate together. It does not belong to any one of those soccer moms alone. Okay? So
Yes, I know. I understand that. I get that. That's not my issue. I'm not into that. The members own it, and I understand.
So what's your question about it then?
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a soccer. It can be medical.
Anything. Yes.
Group. It can be anything.
Yes.
It can be anything. It can be a family.
I know, but my point is that people are misusing it as their own private little business, and you cannot do that. It is not your personal business. So some people are selling it as that, and that's wrong, and that could potentially get you in trouble. That's all I'm saying.
So in other words, I can't make a legal PMA for a family group or members to put our property in, our cars and everything in, and our businesses under it?
You can, but you should know that everything you put in there belongs to everybody equally in that association.
I see equally, not separately, but not individually. I see not as their house, my house, so on. Everything is owned as in union. Okay.
Right.
That won't work. That will not work. Okay. Well, all right. Well, that kills that. I thank you for letting me know. And yes, it is on YouTube, submitting that Freedom Law School does create PMAs. So you might want to just put that in and find out, because I was listening to it last night. That's the reason for my call.
Can you do me a favor, Sherry? Would you please email that to Freedom Law School, okay? Send it to questions@freedomlawschool.org. Questions@freedomlawschool.org. Make it attention, Peymon. Peymon asked for me to send this to him. That is incorrect. That is false. Okay. I don't know how that got on there. I'll have my webmaster take it off right away. So I really appreciate it if you could do that favor for me. Okay?
I'll look it up. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Sherry. Okay. The board is available now. It's empty. We can take a call right now if you have a question, or we can end it right now. Although we may have some questions online also typed up as well. If you have a question, dial 424-552-1299 and then press 1 on your telephone keypad. 424-552-1299 is the number to call, and then press 1, and you'll be next to get your question answered. If you have any questions online, guys, we can answer while we see if anybody has any questions. No? Okay. Next week, I will have Joe Bannister back, okay? The former gun-carrying IRS special agent with the Criminal Investigation Division of the IRS, who is a whistleblower and quit the IRS in 1999 to show all Americans that we've been deceived and lied to, that the IRS is lying by making us believe we have to be slaves and pay federal income tax. So we talked to him one time already. We'll talk to him, a couple, 3 more times about his amazing eye-opening story. So call next week, and he's going to be interviewing with me further about his amazing story, how they try to shut him up, try to put him in jail, and the government failed to put him in prison. So if you have not seen it, check it out on our website, at our social media, on Rumble, YouTube channel, other places we have online, social media. freedomlawschool.org is our website. So what you want to do is you want to educate yourself right now at our website, and share our website with other people on social media. Email your friends, text them. Okay, get our brochures passed out to people that you know. On the back, if you put your name and phone number on the bottom back, and they join, we will pay you. We put it toward your membership to Restore Freedom Plan, and then pay you cash or crypto, okay, for opening your mouth and giving other fellow Americans the opportunity to live free, to no longer be a slave, by telling them about Freedom Law School. So with that, I think we have a new caller just joined, didn't we? 2 callers we have. We have one for area code 208. He's going to go next, followed by another caller from area code 631. So 208 area code caller, please give me your first name, how you heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please.
Hey, thanks so much. This is Wes. Heard about you through YouTube. Question, just if you don't file, become a non-filer. I know the government is utilizing Palantir to create a database-wide, a database of all Americans. I'd hate to put, any kind of a target on your back by becoming a non-filer, especially as they use more AI technology, right, to label, tag, and you just know how our government works sometimes. I don't know. Is that ever a concern? When you become a non-filer and you kind of you're on the wrong side of the road, so to speak, now because you made a decision, and I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? You know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean, and it's exactly the opposite of what you're thinking. If you go to our website, freedomlawschool.org, step 2, you see you make yourself a target. When you sign that 1040 income tax confession trap form under oath, You swear it's all true, correct, and complete. When you sign and file the 1040 income tax confession trap form, you state under oath that you owe the IRS money. This is how you give IRS the power to audit you, because there's nothing to audit if you don't file a 1040 form. To empty your bank account, because you told them you owe the money, steal your crypto, you told them you owe the money, steal your property, you told them you owe the money on the 1040 form again, and put you in prison because you signed that form 1040 under penalty or perjury, which basically means throw me in prison. If you find any mistake in what I said in any way, and you can convince the jury that it was not accident or mistake, you can go to prison right now, Wes, for up to 9 years for each of the 1040 IRS forms you previously filed. So for the last 5 years that you filed that form, you can potentially go to prison for up to 45 years. But your accountant, your CPA, didn't tell you that. TurboTax, HR Block, didn't tell you that. Go get that 1040 out when you filed last year. Look at what it says, sign here. It says in tiny print, just like a good, clever used car salesman. Under penalties of perjury, you signed that form. What does that mean? It's under oath. Okay? On line 37, you say the amount you owe, you swear to it. You on line 37, you owe that money. That's right. You did it to yourself. So you will get yourself off of being a target by no longer signing those 1040 income tax confession form, become a non-filer. Now, you're also a victim of the propaganda lies of the major corrupt media and ignorant and misled, miseducated accountants, bookkeepers, CPA, tax attorneys who tell you if you don't file, whoa, you're going to go to prison. It's all a lie. Okay? It is the true Wizard of Oz that they've done on you, like Dorothy and her friends in a Wizard of Oz. Okay? The fact of the matter is that this lifetime of brainwashing has been very effective. Okay? On getting the American people to become voluntary slaves like they did to you, my friend. And the fact also is IRS operates on deception and bluff. You didn't know that. But the fact is, according to IRS's best numbers, there's about 80 million plus non-filers. Wow. You heard that right. Over 80 million Americans, Wes, who do not file 1040 income tax confession trap form. Okay? Is 80 million Americans people in prison for not filing, Wes? Of course not. How about 80 million Americans? Do they have their bank account and paycheck seized by the IRS for not filing? Of course not. You'll join the club of freedom when you stop putting the rope around your neck. But you got to study, listen to our videos on our website, freedomlawschool.org, as you drive to and from work and errands. Let the videos play as you listen to it, okay? And then, okay, when you're having lunch or dinner, play the video again on your smartphone. This time, watch it and verify for yourself, independently, that everything I'm telling you is the fact. It is the law as published on U.S. government's own official legal websites. All right, Wes, anything else?
I think that's it. I have gone through all the videos, but I think I need to go through them again. But this time I have my wife join me too, though, and we could both do it together.
Yes. It doesn't do any good if you read or listen to something without comprehension. I tell my people that you're going to watch any video or audio 3 times to really get it. First time, you get some of it. Second time, you get a lot more. Third time, now you catch everything else that you missed the first or second time around. So do that, and you won't have any more questions in your mind that you can be free, Wes. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend. Thank you for calling, Wes. We have now another caller join us from area code 617, but I have to take his call after the caller from area code 631 who's been waiting. You're live, my friend, from area code 631. Give me your first name, how you heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please.
Good evening, Peymon. My name is Mike G. I'm a student, and I haven't filed or paid income tax in 8 years. And it's a result of Freedom Law School and the recommendations you've made. And I appreciate the continuing education every Tuesday. I happen to notice that there's another gentleman on the scene talking about, the true nature of the federal income tax. His name is James Bo Johnson. He has a new book out, and I'm reading it now. It's called Restoring the American Republic, Sovereignty, Taxation, and the Truth No One Ever Told You. He did 4 years in prison in Ohio, federal prison. Have you ever heard of him?
Nope.
No. I started reading this book. It's pretty interesting. And the other question I have, Peymon, is how come there's not more collaboration between all the major leaders and the tax honesty groups and, like yourself, Dave Champion? Like, I appreciate the work you're doing with Joe Bannister. I read his book as well. How come there's not more of a collaboration together to really hammer home to the government that we're awake to this topic?
You should ask them that question, my friend. Call Dave Champion. Call Pete Hendrickson. All these guys, because I've reached out to them to work with them. They're the ones that don't want to work with me. I'm afraid, sometimes people are worried more about their territory than working really for freedom. So call Dave Champion. Get on his Facebook group that he had the administrator kick me out because once I start posting my stuff, he talked the administrator to kick me out because, he wanted to do. Dave felt his territory was being taken over by me. I tried to work with Dave Champion. He doesn't want to work together. So what can I do? Can I make him? But they might listen to you. You ask him, hey, call Peymon, work with Freedom Law School. He wants to work with everybody. Let me tell you something about that, by the way, Mike. That is one of the main reasons why I've been able to survive and win over 30 years, because I had the opposite attitude of these guys. I've always looked at anybody, talked to anybody, looked at anybody's research, try to cooperate with them. Since 1999, I used to put on together annually a Freedom Leadership Conference. I got all the top guys in the freedom movement at the time existed together, like about maybe 10 people at a time, roughly. Get together and learn from each other and cooperate with each other. People like Irvin Schiff, Lynn Meredith, Sean O'Connor, Steve Hempfling, Bill Conklin, Larry Becraft, many, many more. Tommy Cryer. We got together. I brought these guys, different interests and specialties. Let's get together like the Founding Fathers and learn from each other and work together like the Founding Fathers did. But unfortunately, if those guys don't want to do it, I can't make them to work with me. But someone like you calling these guys, tell them, hey, why don't you see if you can find areas that you can work with Freedom Law School? I will happily talk with them, discuss with them, because, yes, I'm here just like you, my friend, to restore freedom in America first and foremost.
Yeah, I believe you're right about that. And I know I have reached out to, I've spoken to Dave Champion through text, mostly on his platform, and I give you credit for bringing me to him and his book, because you did that book review, and that was the #1 book. So that was the book I picked up, and never made sense to me why there wasn't a collaboration. If I could just say one more thing to anybody interested in this topic, take your time, read, reread. Took me 2 years, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Took me 2 years. You know, I'm retired law enforcement. You know, there was a big. I'm grateful that the door of my mind opened up. And New York is a very difficult place to bring about this truth. You know, the Communist Republic of New York is so hard enough to crack, and I've tried. You know, last night if you could look at the conversation I had with my son and a friend of mine, and the fear is just it's really thick, and but you have to understand it yourself, and I'm grateful to you, Peymon. I just want to let you know that, and you know, I wish you well, and I'll be continuing to listen. And anybody out there, just take your time, read, reread, and study, and you'll get it. It'll come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike, let me invite you, my friend, that you order a bunch of our Restore Freedom brochures and hand them out to friends and family members who don't listen to you, because they won't. Unfortunately, they don't listen to you. You know, you got them already?
I have.
Good.
I have some left. I could probably use some more, but you know, I don't like to give them out to just anybody because they wind up in the trash.
Yes, I understand.
You know,
yes.
People just, you know, and but again, thank you very much. And I'm just curious if you knew about this guy. I just started reading this book. You know, he's going to expose something tomorrow on YouTube about a couple of prosecutors that involved in his case that sent him to prison and the lies and all this stuff. He lives in Mexico now, but it's interesting. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mike. Anything interesting you find, my friend out there, go to Florida's Freedom Law School. You are our eyes and ears, my friend, out there. You find something interesting we should know about, I really would appreciate you forwarding that story to us for check out, and our education. So thank you, Mike, for calling. And thanks for being one of our students, Bob. And Mike, as a Restore Freedom Plan member, he gets unlimited consultation with Freedom Law School, our people, or myself as necessary. But he chooses to call every Tuesday night, listen and learn, and ask a question here for your benefit also, so you'll learn from good questions that he may be asking and bring it to your attention, the education. Okay, we have one more call from area code 617. Area code. Caller, please give us your first name, how you heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please.
Great. Yeah. Hi, Peymon. My name is Michael, and I'm from New Hampshire. And I heard about you through YouTube. I think I found your videos or your website this last summer. And I've watched all of your 7 steps and the videos that are on your website. And now I'm just starting to go through some of your longer content on YouTube. And I've gone through Joe Bannister's website as well. And so I'm relatively new to the content that you're speaking of, but I'm very intrigued. And I'm just working through getting over the hump of, I guess, getting comfortable with it. You know, I have 5 kids at home. My wife and I each have our own business. And my mother-in-law is our accountant. She's also a CPA. And, you know, when I brought this to her attention, this idea of not filing a 1040, needless to say, she was very afraid of that and thought it was crazy. So I've got 2 questions for you. One is, do you have any advice for how to approach someone who's had an entire career as a CPA and works as a chairwoman of a bank? And then the other question is, if we are paying quarterly taxes, do I have to wait until 2020 is over to not file a 1040 form for next year? Or is there any way I can stop paying taxes for the 4th quarter of this year?
You can stop right now if you wanted to, but you should join the Restore Freedom Plan right away and the Employer Freedom Plan right away to protect you and your employees, okay? And as far as your mother-in-law goes, the answer is very simple, okay? You wine and dine her. You invite her to your home, give them the most delicious food, cooked at home by your wife or outside food as you wish, whatever she likes. And said, look, I need your assistance to watch this stuff for me. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I found this website that about taxes that relies only on U.S. government's official legal website. Number one, the IRS 1040 form and instructions, and then laws published by House of Representatives, and then by U.S. Treasury regulations published by governments, and the U.S. Supreme Court. It's pretty eye-opening, amazing, but I need your help to see if any mistakes that these guys are making, because you are in this field. I want to make sure I'm not doing anything wrong. So sit down, have a watch. I need just an hour of your time. Put it on step 1, the law. Have a watch a 10-minute video. Have a pen and pad, write questions down. Okay? Don't attempt to answer all of them necessarily. Let my videos answer her questions, okay? Because the questions will be about any of those steps at our website. Step 1 through 7 are structured that way because their objections or questions are about those things. Step 1, there's a law. Okay, there's no law. Oh, okay. Step 2, I'm going to file anyways because I'm going to do the safe thing. I don't want to be in trouble with the IRS. Step 2 shows you're wrong. It's the opposite. The 1040 form is the rope around your neck that you got to stop doing. Step 3, but if I don't file, I'm going to be the one guy that'll come after put me in prison. Oh, wrong about that too. They actually come after filers. They leave non-filers alone over 99%. There's over 80 million non-filers. Oh, wow. And step 4, I'm still so nervous. Who are these guys you're working with? Guess what? Freedom Law School, for over 30 years been doing this. Not one of their followers who came to Freedom Law School clean like you and me and stayed with Freedom Law School ever got out of prison or had any of their stuff taken. Wow. For how long? Over 23 years. Wow. That's a hell of a track record. Well, that makes me feel good. I feel better now. And, well, I really want to be sure about doing things right. What else can I do? Well, how about if you write to your congressman about the law? They are the lawmakers. Ask them to either stop the IRS and DOJ crooks from misapplying the law on you and me, the American people, or correct you if you're wrong, and you will pay your fair share of taxes. I did the same thing. You can do it, and this way you ask before you start filing income tax. That's your great defense. Anything else I can do? It's optional. One more option you have is you can do it alone if you want like this, or step 6, get together with other like-minded truth and freedom seekers like yourself and put it into a little fund called Restore Freedom Plan. Now, instead of being alone, you are aligned with many other people backing each other up. This way, IRS will not mess with you. If they do, they give you unlimited consultation. They pay the attorneys. The legal work is done, and you will never go to prison. And if they ever take your stuff anyways, whether it's 10,000, 10 million or more, Freedom Law School will reimburse you in full. So you have zero risk. Now, let's go to it. So you see, the objections going to have is any one of those areas. So you know to go to, after step 1, the law, go more on the law if they have more questions, or go to step 2 about signing a 1040 form. And then after step 2 to step 3. Don't skip to step 3. You're going to cover step 2 and step 1 first. Because they got to realize it's signing the 1040 form that gets them in trouble, not signing a 1040 form. All right, Michael?
All right. I appreciate it. I will start around the 7 steps and start with step 1 and then progress one at a time.
Yep, and educate them and yourself as you drive around, look at it. Once you get her interested, ask her to check it out some more. And next week, bring your mother-in-law back for follow-up session. Same thing.
And
Great
what
dinner
time?
provided.
Is this weekly at the same time?
Whatever works for you and her is all that matters. You can do it next night if you want to, and 2 days from there if you want to, but I'm just saying, just bring him back again. Because unless you educate people, sometimes people will not on their own time make it to educate themselves. Here you're paying them with good, delicious food and family, togetherness, to come and watch it, the videos.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend. Thank you for calling, Michael. We have another caller that joined us since from area code 832. 832 area code caller. Please give me your first name. I heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please.
Okay, this is me, Peymon.
Yes.
Okay, this is Earl Shelton calling you for the third time. I missed your last Tuesday show. I think something went wrong, like your computer went down or something like that.
We had a problem 2 weeks ago, but we got it fixed up, my friend. So thank you for calling again. Earl,
Okay,
what's on your mind?
Okay, so basically I got a fly from you. I got 100 of them. And I was thinking of saying this. I have one question, but I was thinking of saying this. The QR code, can it be individually where I have it on me, on my phone, and they can just take a shot of it so they know it's me? And that would save you pamphlets or the booklets if you chose to do that. And, of course, it costed $13 to send it to me. But anyway, my question is this.
Hold up, on that issue, do me a favor, contact my office. Talk to my IT people about
Okay.
your technology idea. Hey, if it's a good idea, let's do it. I'm all open.
It'll save you the booklets, and it'll save you all the postage.
Okay, let's do it. Call my office, and then, so how we can implement it. I'm all for these ideas you got, but they're the ones you got to talk to about it, okay?
All right, I'll talk to them. My question to you, Peymon, is this. I'm hoping that someone can remember the name of the catalog that came out of Washington State and had all of you guys in there. I had, that's the lady that I called one day, probably around January, February, or March, something like that, of 1997, and I asked, who you got over here? And she said, Johnny Liberty is right now at the Denny's restaurant on Waikiki, and I went to see him. But I can't remember the name of that catalog. Since you know everybody, I've never seen all your video lists. It's got all these wonderful people that back in the old days, all those videos cost thousands of dollars to obtain, and you got them all for free. Okay. And so basically, I'm trying to remember the name of that catalog so I can reorder it again. I've somehow forgotten what the name of it is. But anyway,
that may have been the Free Enterprise Society catalog. That's a defunct organization that I used to work with back in the 1990s. But yeah, they've got out of business for a long time ago. They're not doing anything.
And there was also another catalog that was called Odessa, if you remember that.
The name sounds familiar.
Okay.
But all of these guys out of business because everything's online these days. Everything's online, so nobody really does anything with those catalogs anymore, hardly.
Okay. And so I'm trying to. I got 3 of your flyers out. One lady that makes $50,000 in tax payments a year, and the other one is the guy named Ben that writes out a check for $1.5 million. So I'm working on that. And so my question was just to try to find that catalog. And one more question. I almost forgot to bring this up. Are you familiar with Lyndon LaRouche? He used to have like seminars.
Yes.
Did you know him?
No, but I know all about him. I read his material way back then. Gosh, that was about 30 years ago. He's dead and gone now.
Yeah, he's dead. And so it was either in 1979 when I was 12 or 1980 or 81. He went on a tour with my dad and, on the little business that I had in Mexico. And then I did the tours in the Philippines, and I did the tours in Vietnam and in Thailand as I got older. But so I was looking up Lyndon LaRouche because I had a friend that mentioned him, you know, with a book called The Two Babylons, and all the subject matter that revolves around you. But anyway, I won't waste your time. I just wanted to find out the name of that catalog, if anybody can remember the name of the catalog. It came out of Washington State. The last time I contacted them was in 1997.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. There was there was a newspaper that came out.
It was a thick catalog. It costed me $5, and it had how to do a load of titles, all the subject matter around.
I don't know where you find them. Those guys are gone, but they're gone a long time ago, my friend. That's over 25 years ago. Come on. Go online. Those things are gone. Okay? People don't do the catalogs anymore. I did the brochures because they're nice, beautiful, four-color, nice ones. And it's almost like me, it's still old-fashioned, like the whole piece of paper in our hands still. But everything's online these days, my friend, you know?
Well, anyway, all I can do is praise you, and I'll let you go to get to the next client or the next caller.
Thank you. Thank you, Earl. Thank you for support, my friend.
Thank you, Peymon. I'm hoping to meet you one day. Keep your ass come to Florida.
Likewise. I'm going to do a seminar sometime probably in January. Maybe I'll do one in Florida, in Tampa area, just to meet some of you guys if you want to come down. I'm going to get something going, so we can have a little meeting because I haven't done these seminars for a while. So I'll try to do one sometime in January. In Florida, Tampa area. Okay, well, we got some calls on the screen, calling in and online. So if you have a question, folks, call in. You can be on the queue. The number to call if you have a question you want to ask orally is area code 442-552-1299 and press 1. Call 424-552-1299, press 1. 424-552-1299 and press 1. Now, Andres online asks, why is it recommended to deal with a hard lender bank when not filing taxes? If I stop filing taxes, will centralized banks stop doing business with me in the future? Well, you got to know this, my friend. The international banksters who created the Federal Reserve in 1913, at the same time they passed the 17th Amendment to take the states' power to appoint senators away from them, to make us a central democracy more and more. And they did their phony 16th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution that supposedly gave Congress the power to tax and enslave the American people, but it did not. All happened about the same time under Wilson. And the next year, 1914, we got First World War also under Wilson, that crook, corrupt man, agent of the international banksters. So the income tax and the banking system go hand in hand. In fact, back in 1940s, Birger Rummel, R-U-M-H-L, former head of the American Lawyers Association of some kind, and a Federal Reserve official, wrote an article called Taxes for Revenue Are Obsolete. Because the government can borrow money from the Federal Reserve banksters, unlimited, phony money made out of thin air. So taxes for revenue are obsolete, is what he said, which he's right, basically, by the way. They use it to control you and enslave you both. So, what was the topic? I got distracted. What was I trying to say? So the banks and government work together to enslave you. Okay? The banks say, hey, you want us to give you money? Show us you're a good slave. Slave? If you're a good slave, we'll give you money. If you're not a slave, you're a free man. We don't like you, free man. You're not our kind of guy. By the way, we would like to know under oath how much you make. And we know you do that with your slave master, IRS. That 10 for it from you. Swear how much you make. Your word to us, we're not so sure about that, but you telling your slave master IRS under oath, we like that. So that's how it is. So it's up to you. You want to, the Rothschild said way back in 1700s that their system they're going to create to enslave the people of Europe at the time, and then later on America, of course, they'll do it so that everyone would be dependent upon their favors. Everyone would be dependent on borrowing their phony counterfeit money to expand the business, buy home or car, whatever. That's been the goal. They've accomplished that to a large part. But it's up to you. Do you want to be a slave? It's okay to be a slave. File tax returns every year. Risk going to prison for 9 years every time you sign that form. And then get better interest rate loans from the banks on more favorable rates than going to private lenders, private people who want to lend you money, but they want real interest rates because the money is real they're lending to you. It's not phony money that like the banks make by fraud. It's real money they worked hard for and saved to lend you. You can pay those guys a reasonable rate of return. They call it hard money lending, but it's not. It's just real free market lending. That's what I would do, but at the end, the choice is yours to make. Okay, Chris? All right. You have any other questions online? Because if no one has called with a question, and online, you have any questions up there? Okay. Oh, another person says, Chris Larson says there seems to be no answer or solution to prevent the IRS lock-in letter that locks in an employee withholding. We thought we were free of it when my husband got a new job, but they found him. Well, Chris, we're going to be doing a lawsuit against the IRS for that. Okay, we got a couple of lawsuits planned up. It just takes a lot of legal research and writing properly to win the case. It's taken longer than I expected, that I wanted to, but it's going to be done right. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to play a game. I'll play to win against the IRS, not do a half-assed job and then lose it and blow it all. So sorry it's taking longer, but you're basically, unfortunately, at this point, correct. Okay? If you got a lock-in letter at your job, if you work for a big mega corporation that doesn't listen, I'm sorry, you may have to leave that job, go to another job at another company. Okay? Because that's the guaranteed way to break it, because it applies only to that employer who's afraid of the IRS, even though they should not be. The IRS does no follow-up with the employer to see if the lock-in letter took place by employer or not. They just assume that employers will be afraid of the IRS. They'll do it anyways, and unfortunately, they are right. If you work for a small employer, we can have a conversation with them, put them on at ease. They may not, steal your money involuntarily. Okay? But yes, there is no simple, easy answer. And in the sake of honesty, integrity, truthfulness, I will not lie to you. I will not tell you I got a silver bullet for you. That's one of the reasons why I'm still around. Because I refuse to lie to people, like many other people out there do, to get your money. By saying, I got the answers, UCC, common law versus statutory admiralty jurisdictional law, straw man, not use a zip code on your mail, copyrighting your name, revocation of election, on and on and on, these lies they tell you that to get your money. I will not do that. I'm telling you the truth. That is what it is, I'm afraid. But we're fighting that. We're fighting back. And let's do it, what we can do. So the options are not like I wish them they were. Okay, so thank you for being honest and telling me the honest problem. And that's the honest answer, which is why the lock-in layers are specifically not covered by our Restore Freedom Plan, because I cannot do anything really about it like I wish I could. All right? Okay, it looks like we're almost done with any questions we have online. I'm going to give the number out one more time. Call our number if you have a question. This is your last chance to ask it. Call 424-552-1299 and then press 1 on your telephone keypad. The number again is 424-552-1299 and then press 1. If you have a question, I'll take your question now. All right? So no question on there. Remember, guys, next week, the former Irish Special Agent, Joe Bannister, will be with me, and I'll be answering questions with him. So with that, let me tell you this, brothers and sisters. I love every one of you. I really want you to be free. Live a free, prosperous, joyous, love, full of prosperity and friendship as you want for yourself and your family. But I can't do it for you. You are the only one that can do that for yourself. I'm here to assist. I'm here to provide you information, facts, and the law. But you're the one that got to order our Restore Freedom brochure, 12 pages, read it. Go to our website, freedomlawschool.org, and listen to our videos as you drive around town, to and from work, shopping. Play the videos in your smart car in the car. Watch the road. Drive safe as you listen and learn. Have lunch or dinner. Play it again. And this time watch it. Okay, and you're going to know the truth. Because as the famous saying goes, the Bible says a common sense thing. Seek the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So, don't be afraid. Love the truth, and the truth that you'll search for will provide you the freedom that you want. Go to freedomlawschool.org now. Thank you. I'll be back with you next Tuesday night.